Assalamu alaikum. I'm Tasneem Rahman Promi from Wanid Batch. Thank you for giving me the floor. Starting my presentation with the topic putting sirens on mute. In the hot season, it's necessary to open the windows to put cool breeze into the room. But there are worries that if you open the window, the noise outside will enter the room. To get rid of this, one can install noise cancelling windows that can reduce sound by up to 50% even when windows left open. Noise cancellation windows uses active noise technology. By name, it can be understood that active noise technology is a method which reduces unwanted sound by the addition of a second sound designed to cancel the first one. Here is a photo of prototype of active noise control system. This is equipped with a microphone, some small speakers, and a computer controller. Microphone is used to detect sound wave coming from outside. The prototype consists of 24 small speakers that are placed on a window grill, and they emit sound waves that correspond to incoming noise and cancel it out. A computer controller is used to determine the wave frequency needed to neutralize the sound. Then it is transmitted to the speakers on the window frame. In operation, the microphone detects noise even before it reaches the window, and computer controller computes the characteristics of the incoming noise. Speakers then emit a countering sound or anti-noise that is out of phase with the incoming sound. When two sounds converge, they cancel each other out. This is an effect of destructive interference. This picture shows that how could be the signals without and with noise controlling devices. This technology reduces up to by 50% noise pollution. By installing, users can leave windows open and can improve the airflow within the home. Moving to second topic, which is about plotting experiments. Here is the XCDraw mini kit. This is used for XY plotting. XCDraw mini kit is produced by Evil Mad Scientist. XCDraw is nothing but a pen plotter, which is a type of simple robot. Its sole function is to guide a pen along the set of vector lines and curves that you ask it to follow. These are the tools of the XCDraw mini kit, and the mini kit takes a few hours to assemble. One can go to their manual for perfect connection. Here, the x-axis is formed by one long fixed rail. A movable chassis runs along the rail and it supports the y-axis rail in turn, to which the pen holder is affixed. There are two stepper motors used to position the pen holder. There is a drive belt and it is looped through the chassis and along the y-axis. Motor controls the axis, causes the pen holder to move at a 45-degree angle to the rails. The mini kit is primarily controlled from a desktop or laptop using an extension to Inkscape, which is an open source vector drawing tool. XCDraw can be used with whatever fonts are on the computer, so long as the text is converted to paths before plotting. Now a question may arise, can XCDraw replicate our handwriting? Of course, it requires an added step of creating a custom font. Programming is not required for using this tool, but Python programming interfaces are available. The machine has great features that contribute to writing and drawing of personal information. This is not successful, but depending on how different people embrace this technology. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I am Anupama Kundu. I'm a second year student of CHUET, and my student ID is 1802136. Today I'm going to talk about IT's perpetual crisis. First of all, I'm going to discuss about indeterminate growth. Growth that doesn't stop at a certain stage is called indeterminate growth. So, most living organisms suffer sudden stop at growth after hitting their mature form. But there are exceptions where animals and trees grow up until their death. Trees mostly stop growing because of natural or physical phenomenon like prolonged drought, fire, and hurricane winds. And because of infestation by viruses, bacteria, and insects. So we can say that indeterminate growth is common among cold-blooded species from teeny insects to large lobsters. Let's move on to the next slide. So human growth starts from birth and it remains indeterminate up until a certain stage. So what can we see from the graph? From the graph, we can see that indeterminate growth in human bodies shows up until 14 to 16 years of age. It slightly varies from men to women. And after that age, we hit maturity and our physical touches the full stop mark. On the contrary, we can see indeterminate growth in elephants and redwood trees. The elephant, a mammal whose growth pattern may be indeterminate. Indeterminate growth remains disputed among reptiles and mammals. Some argue that it is found in the males of certain mammalian species, elephants, both African and Asian, and deer species. And on the other hand, the redwood tree, a plant that grows for as long as it lives. So, the world's largest trees provide the most impressive examples of indeterminate growth. Growth only ceased when something came and killed the trees, most commonly fire or fungal attack. And of course, there is no indeterminate growth for human beings. Okay, let's move on to the next topic. Privacy in connected device system. IoT, Internet of Things, is a very popular topic and is being practiced a lot. IoT connects a lot of electronics devices, but there is always the concern of data security and privacy of a user. In IoT, data are transmitting over various interconnected devices, and for that reason, there is huge possibility of data leakage. So here is the question arises. Can we make the data personally unidentifiable to stop data corruption? Any guesses, participants? Yeah, we can prevent the possibility of data leakage. Companies and other organizations are developing algorithms to make the data confidential. For example, a company working with IoT, which name is Density. So what they have done? They have developed a technology to avoid using cameras to count people in a premises and make the data anonymous by design. And another organization, Cognitive, a Canada-based organization, uses Wi-Fi signal interruption to understand people's movement. By making the data anonymous by design, IoT devices can safely be distributed and used without the fear of data leaking and corruption. Co-processors. A coprocessor is a process that helps the main processor of a computer or any electronic devices. In 1980s, Intel 8087 coprocessor was introduced, which could perform some mathematical computations and accelerate a huge number of operations. Nowadays, GPUs are used to improve and boost up a lot of haptic graphical operations. PCs. Personal computers were never a standalone device in this respect. A single PC has a different coprocessor, millions of other PCs connected through web network. And mobile devices, they are also connected with other devices in the same way. So, what is the strongest coprocessor we can have nowadays? this huge global network. This huge global network, a global processor, is the strongest tool we have today. With the help of the community, we can do anything we want. We all now have powerful tools at our fingertips for connecting with others. When we plug ourselves into this global co-processor, we can put our heads together to imagine, plan, and produce, or to conspire, harass, or trade. We can share with the great power that this technology confers great responsibility. That's something we should remind ourselves of every time we peer at our screens. Legacy IT system is an outdated system prone to failure in operating future business operations. A huge number of organizations still rely on age-old programs and software. This is what is creating the problem. These outdated programs and systems will surely fail to complete tasks in the near future. And these legacy IT systems are also very much in danger to be affected by viruses and security breaches, and they could be hacked easily. In order to solve this problem, US government is spending a lot of money in maintenance, development, and modernization in IT sector. Actually, this process is costly. $8.75 trillion is being spent on development and enhancement. $2.5 trillion in IT modernization, and $720 billion for failed modernization efforts. And I think the solution of this problem is very simple. We will not allow the system to become old. Never let the system to become a legacy system. Proper maintenance and monitoring from the very beginning of the software can stop it from becoming a legacy IT. So development, operation, and support of a software should be considered as a single task, and the organization should employ people accordingly. So legacy IT can be dangerous. We have to get rid of it somehow and try our best to stop our system from becoming a legacy IT system. So the topics we have discussed today are indeterminate growth in nature, where we have seen both determinate and indeterminate growth in our environment. Then we have discussed about data impersonalization in IoT devices, where we have seen the possibility of securing data by making it anonymous. We have discussed about co-processors of CPUs and how impactful global network can be. At the end, we have talked about legacy IT system and the problems this deadly trap can cause. These topics are related to IT and its perpetual crisis, and discussing and letting others know about these topics and their solution can help us to solve those crises. That's all from my part. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum everyone. I'm Rifanawal Khan from Department of EEE. Today I'm going to discuss about IT's perpetual crisis. The new Drivers ED. Drivers ED is the abbreviation of Drivers Education, Driving Education or Driving Tuition or Lessons. It's a formal class of program that prepares a new driver to obtain a learner's permit or driver's license. The formal class program may also prepare existing license holders for an overseas license conversation or medical assessment driving test or refresher course. It may take place in a classroom, in a vehicle, online, or combination of the above. A 4-lane street narrows to accommodate workers repairing a large pothole. Game developers take Cruise autonomous vehicle to understand gesture made by people by the street. So, one worker holds a stop sign losing in his left hand as he waves car through with his right hand. Human drivers don't think twice about the whether to follow the gesture or the sign. They move smoothly forward without stopping. The situation, however, would likely stop an autonomous vehicle in its tracks. It would understand the stop sign and how to react. But what about that sign gesture? Well, that's a lot more complicated. And drivers and human computer daily face far more complex situation in which reading body language is the key. Consider a city street corner. A pedestrian paused to cross with the light, stops to check her phone and wave a right-tuning car forward. Another pedestrian lifts a hand up to wave to a friend cross on the way, but keep moving. A human driver can decode this gesture with a glance. Navigation such challenges safely and seamlessly without interrupting the flow of traffic. Requires that autonomous vehicle understand the common hand motions used to guide human drivers through unexpected situations. Along with the gesture and body language of pedestrians going about their business, there are signals that humans react to without much thought, but they present a challenge for a computer system that's still learning about the world around it. Autonomous vehicle or self-driving cars. An autonomous vehicle is one that can drive itself from a starting point to a predetermined destination in autopilot mode using various in-vehicle technologies and sensors, including adaptive cruise control, active steering, anti-clock braking system, GPS navigation technology, laser, and radar. Autonomous vehicle developers around the world have been working for several years to teach self-driving cars to understand at least some basic hand gestures, initially focusing on the signal from cyclists. Autonomous vehicle developers rely on machine learning to improve vehicles' ability to identify real-world situations and understand how to deal with them. Generally, at Cruise we gathered the data from our fleet of more than 200 self-driving cars. The vehicles they have logged hundreds of miles every year for the past 7 years. Before the pandemic hit, they were on the road around the clock, taking breaks only to recharge and for regular maintenance. Our cars are learning fast because they are navigating the hilly streets of San Francisco, one of the most complex driving environments in the United States. But we realized that our machine learning models do not always have enough training data because our cars don't experience important gestures in the real world often enough. Our vehicles need to recognize each of the situations from different angles and distance and under different lighting conditions. A combination of constraints that produce a huge number of possibilities. So, it would take us years to gain enough information on these events if we relied only on the real-world experience. To solve this problem, motion capture is the solution that data gap of machine learning model. There are two types of mocap, optical and non-optical. The optical version of mocap uses cameras distributed over a large grid-like structure that surrounds a stage. The video game streams from these cameras can be used to triangulate the 3D positions of visual makers on a full body suit owned by an actor. There are several variations of this system that can produce extremely detailed captures, including those of the facial expressions. They are used in movies to portray non-human characters. For example, the movie named Avatar in 2009. The optical motion capture, however, must be performed in a studio setting with a complex multi-camera setup. So Chris selected a non-optical sensor-based version of motion capture. This technology, which rely on microelectromechanical system, is portable, wireless, and doesn't require dedicated studio space. That gives us a lot of flexibility and allow us to take it out of the studio and into real-world location. Their mocap suits consist 19 sensor packages attached at key points of the body. Each package is about the size of a silver dollar. These packages consist of an accelerometer, a gyroscope, a magnetometer. All these things are wired to a belt that contains a battery pack, a control bus, and a Wi-Fi radio. They recruited 5 volunteers of verifying body characteristics and collected the data. Then our engineers prepared the data to be fed into machine learning models. Once the cars are trained on their motion capture data, they will be better equipped to navigate on various scenarios that city driving presents. Through this data, the training of the self-driving car started. This system must be able to detect more than just the basic movement of a person. So let's go to the next topic. Hacking a printed circuit board or PCB. A PCB is mechanically supports and electrically connects electrical or electronic components using connective tracks, pads, and other feathers, each from one or more sheets layer or copper laminated onto an or between the sheet layer of a non-conductive substrate. PCB production is an unappreciated vulnerability in the global supply chain. In 2018, an article in Bloomberg Businessweek made a stupendous assertion that Chinese spy service had created a backdoor to servers built for Amazon, Apple, and others by inserting millimeter-sized chips into circuit boards. The possibility of carrying out such a stupendous hack is quite real, and there have been more than a dozen documented examples of such system-level attacks. In order to understand how a circuit board can be hacked, it's owed to reviewing how they are made of. A PCBs typically contain thousands of components. Some of them are battery, resistors, LEDs, transistors, capacitors, inductors, diodes, and switches. PCB designers started by creating two electronic documents, a schematic and a layout. The schematic describes all the components and how they are interconnected, and the layout depicts the finished bare board and locates object on the board, including both components and their labels called reference designators. There are 5 ways of hacking a PCB. Small components, power controller, low pin count bus, BIOS, flash memory, and super input-output chip. These components are the most targeted things that can hack a PCB. But the main 3 ways to hack a PCB are: extra components can be added to the schematic, or extra components are added to the layout, or the Gerber and Deal files can be altered. By using these 3 ways, one more important way is to suffocate a PC is done the half of the job. Attackers can also know that the base target is on the motherboard. So using these ways, PCB can be hacked. Thank you so much.